Hello, my name is Paul Micarelli, and I'm here with my son Paul Giuseppe, and this is Thinking Aloud. And our topic today is another big one, and pretty much the biggest one. It is space. And I don't know why, it's just a topic that kind of popped in my head when I was thinking of things to talk about with my son here. And space is one of those topics that has always fascinated me, something I think about a lot and love to learn about and hear new information about. And space is one of those things that it's there all the time, it's all around us, and a lot of people just never really think about it unless, maybe on a dark night you see the stars in the sky, or the moon, or something interesting happens like a solar eclipse, or you see a shooting star. But most of the time people don't really take into consideration the vast infinite universe around us. And to me, that's one of the main reasons why I do like thinking about it, is because it gives a sense of scale to our universe and makes you realize just how immense this reality is that we live in. And space is something that's kind of fascinated me since I was a kid. I always, wanted to know how to use like telescopes and find stars, and I never really quite got that into it. Now with the wonders of modern technology, you have these apps that let you find stars and planets and constellations, and now I can look up and if I see a really bright object, I know if it's a certain planet or a certain star. And when we look at the Earth from space, the famous image of the Earth as the pale blue dot, you kind of realize just how insignificant we really are. And I always try to look at things from at least two different perspectives: the cosmic perspective and our personal perspective. And of course our lives are important to us, and of course human life is important to human beings. But when you kind of zoom out and look at the Earth from outer space, like some astronauts have said, you get kind of a mind-blowing perspective, and you realize that all these squabbles that are going on, all the wars, all the things that we think are so important, it's really nothing. So like I said, it's important to us in our human life and our individual kind of existence, but in the grand scheme of things, it's all kind of very insignificant. There's a quote, I forget who it is off the top of my head, but it says, be noble for you're made of stars, be humble for you're made of dung. Meaning that, we are star stuff. We are the same material that goes into the brightest, largest stars in the sky. And we're also just kind of these elements that also make up dirt and dung and all these other basic things. And somehow we formed into this these marvelous beings that can comprehend all this, or at least try to comprehend it. And humans have started to travel into space. We have put people on the moon. We have people currently in space station. We've traveled around the close orbit of Earth, but we really haven't ventured far beyond that. There's plans for missions to Mars and beyond, but human beings haven't gotten there yet. And I think most people with kind of visionary insight realize that this is probably the most important mission for human beings, is to get off this planet and to travel into space and into other planets and possibly even other star systems. And the reason that this is important is because any kind of cosmic event or even a global event that incapacitates or wipes out humanity, if we're not beyond this planet, then that's it. This million and billion year old process of life, and specifically human life, will come to an end. So it's very important that human beings somehow find a way to colonize off planet and find ways to travel in a way that allows us to travel beyond this solar system. You can watch videos online about how fast light can travel and how long it takes to get through our solar system. And light, the fastest velocity that we know that can be traveled right now, takes 8 minutes to get from the sun to the earth. I don't know, it takes a while to get to, from the sun to the outer reaches of the solar system. And then once you get beyond the solar system, we're talking light years to the nearest star system. So even traveling at the speed of light, just hundreds of thousands of miles per second, still takes years. And this is for the closest star systems. And we have just, for all practical purposes, infinite number of stars in our universe. In this galaxy alone, there's billions of stars and there's billions of galaxies. I mean, it's just, to try to put a number on it, it's just kind of futile. But everything, these things are out there. Everything is out there. And we're only experiencing this little tiny speck in this vast, vast cosmos right now. And the only way that we're ever going to travel beyond this is to either A, shed this physical body and figure out some way to exist energetically and B, not confined by physical constraint, or ways to manipulate space-time in a way that allows us to travel faster than the speed of light without actually traveling. I know, warp drives and gravity propulsion, where you can actually warp space-time and pull the fabric of the universe towards you, or something to that effect. Those are ways that theorists and scientists are thinking that we might be able to get around the constraints, the physical constraints of the universe, because otherwise we're going to have to employ hibernation or just colonized vessels that have generations and generations of people, because to travel into the closest star system, like I said, is years, and to travel beyond that into other star systems, we're talking like lifetimes and lifetimes. And to get from one side of the galaxy to the other is basically just an impossibility with any kind of foreseeable technology. So that's why I think that the only way to really overcome these limitations is, like we've overcome every other limitation, and just advance technology and to increase our understanding of the universe. And one day, I hope that maybe my son here has a chance to travel outer space. I don't think that's going to be something that I experience in my lifetime. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. That would be pretty cool to, even go into, near Earth orbit and see the Earth from that perspective. But, I'm not banking on that happening. So hopefully maybe my son one day, he'll be an astronaut, or at least a tourist, a space tourist who can, travel and see the Earth from that perspective and be in space. And even if he doesn't, I'm still going to instill in him the awe-inspiring nature of the universe, and how on a dark, starry night, you can look up and just see infinity and see unknown star systems and possible planets that exist out there, and possibly life, possibly things we can't even imagine. And it's pretty just amazing to think about. You think about the scale of the universe and how, you know, some stars are bigger than our entire solar system. You have black holes that are eating up entire star systems, and possibly even a giant black hole in the middle of our galaxy, and possibly in the middle of any spiral galaxy that's pulling everything towards it like water going down a drain. And just the scale of these things, it's really humbling and mind-boggling. And to kind of sit and contemplate it and think about it is kind of like I talked about last time with my meditation on death. It kind of dissolves your ego and makes you realize that, you know, like I said, even though in our life everything that we have is significant, and this life that we're experiencing is significant to us, in the grand scheme of things, it's just, you know, a flash, a flash of light in this endless array of flashing lights that exist throughout the universe. So I think it's something important to think about. I think it's just something beautiful. You know, you look at imagery that Hubble and other telescopes have taken, and you just see this amazing imagery that exists throughout the universe, and it's beautiful. And again, it's, you know, kind of humbling and awe-inspiring. So I think space is something that everybody should kind of appreciate. And it's a shame that there's so much light pollution, and a lot of people in certain areas can't, you know, look up and see the stars and see the Milky Way and appreciate, you know, that beauty. But I think it's something that people should try to understand, because it is our universe. It is part of who we are, and it's part of where we come from. As I mentioned before, we are made of the same stuff that stars are made of. And at one time, these atoms that are in me and Paulie right now were in the middle of the sun, possibly in a supernova, or multiple, you know, stars and supernovas, going back to the, you know, beginning of the known universe. So it's starting to get dark now. Maybe we'll see some stars tonight. I know Paulie can't appreciate it now, but I'm looking forward to the day where I can have him look up in the sky and point out, you know, various celestial bodies. But until then, until he can start asking me all the questions that I know he's going to be asking me, I'll end it there on this topic, and hopefully we'll be back to talk about something else. But for now, this is Paul Micarelli, and this is little Paul Giuseppe, and I appreciate you listening if you listen to this point, and we'll see you next time. See you later.